Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the LitRPG podcast. I'm Ramon Mejia. I'm here to bring you the latest LitRPG news, reviews, and of course author interviews. This week I have 3 new reviews for you folks at home. It's a shorter, busy week, but we still got stuff for you here. And that's going to include Tales of the Northblood, Winter's Breath, the LitRPG Saga, also Pearls of the South, World of the Changed Book 2, and in IN Picks of the Week, we're going to talk about Death's Mantle, book number 2. Okay, but before we get into any of that, we're going to go into LitRPG news. And in LitRPG news, we got a couple stories here. Just the one time with the 10th Realm, the 4th Realm by Michael Chatfield. The audiobook is up for pre-order. It'll be out on February the 27th for you folks who've been looking forward to the latest audiobook in that particular series. Also, to help promote the series, book 1 in that series, The 2-Week Curse, will be available for 99 cents this weekend only. So be sure to catch that deal. Also, that's it for LitRPG news. So on to stuff that's out now. These are stories that I have hadn't had a chance to read, but they are out for you to enjoy. That includes Skull and Thrones, which is the 3rd book in the Bad Guy series. And also, The Dark Academy Transformation book number 3 is out as well, as is Vasily Manko's An Equation with One Unknown, which is the 2nd book in that particular series. Remember, that one is set in the Barleone universe, which is the same kind of game story universe that's Way of the Shaman, but different main character, different storyline, although there are a few connections, which I don't want to spoil for you guys, but the author told me about it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. So go check it out. Also out now is the 1st book in Mage, Web of World Empire, a D&D LitRPG series. I believe that one's actually the 2nd book in the series. It just doesn't say so. Art of Deception, World of Carrick, book number 2 is out, part 2. As is The Second Betrayal, the 2nd book in the Divine Apostasy series. And Dungeon Core Academy 3 is out as well, as is Legacy of the Blood Reaver, Crematoria Online, book number 2. I actually remember reading book number 1. It was quite interesting. If I'm not mistaken, it combines some detective game mechanics, like the stuff from, remember, Batman Arkham City, like when Batman is using like his like certain game elements like find out clues and stuff. I think this one is the one that uses similar mechanics in figuring out mysteries and steampunk stuff. Also out is Council of the Noobs, Noomtown, book number 3. And the 2nd book in the Core Control series by Andrew Sipple called Nomad Core. And last but not least is Resurrection, the Stork Tower, book number 7. And I wish I could just jump into this book, but I skipped a couple books. Like I think I missed 5, and then I couldn't read 6 because I haven't read 5, and I can't read 7 because I haven't read 6 or 5. But it's definitely a wonderful series, so definitely go check it out if you're into that particular series. New audiobooks for you guys to enjoy includes Defenders of the Realm, The Greystone Chronicles, book number 4. Also from Dave Wilmarth is Shadow Sun Expansion. So you get 2 Dave Wilmarth books out this weekend for you to listen to. And A Jump into the Unknown, Reality Benders, book number 5 is out as well. As is The Calling of Man, a LitRPG Apocalypse Perils Prodigy, book number 1. And House Rules, a Metagamer Chronicles, book number 2. By Xavier Hunter is out as an audiobook. And there we go. On to upcoming LitRPG. This is just where I read up a bunch of stuff that's coming out in the near future for you guys to enjoy and to schedule your reading or publishing particular habits. And that includes on February the 18th, Axe Storm, Skyrim's The Land, book number 3. February the 19th, it'll be Player Reaches the Top, a LitRPG series, book number 2. February the 25th, The Lost Enclave, book number 1. This is a new series from Morgan Cole. On February the 28th, the 2nd book in the Red Mage series, produced by Mantle Press, and written by Xander Boyce. It'll be called Temper. The 4th book in the Seeds of Chaos series will be out on February the 29th. February 29th is also the 3rd book in the Glory of Formation Empire series. March the 2nd, it'll be The Last Time Loop, Max the Rebellion, Volume 2. March the 3rd, it'll be Neon Dark, a LitRPG Adventure, Zero Hand, book number 2. This is, again, a new book from J.D. Astra. And Project Chrysalis, book number 5, will be out on March the 3rd. The Incarnator will be out on March the 9th. The third book in the Alchemic Weaponer series will be out on March the 10th. On March the 17th, this will be the second book in the Beetle series, The Hive. This is written by a Russian author, if I'm not mistaken. The third book in the Underdog series will be out on March the 20th. March the 30th, it'll be The Hero Online, book number 5. April the 1st, it'll be Sentenced to Troll, book number 3. The third book in the World of Change series will be out on April the 2nd. The Good Guy series, book number 8, will be out on April the 2nd. On April the 15th, it'll be Dragonheart, A Sea of Sorrow. On May the 1st, it'll be Alchemy Online, Chronicles, book number 4. On May the 5th, it'll be Aberrant Quest, The Bloodcrown, book number 2. May 31st, it'll be Path of Alchemy, Black Flame Online, Gloria Formation, Emperor, book number 4. So there we go. On to, though, new releases and reviews. Okay, first review for the week is going to be Tales of the Northblood by Carrie Summers. It is 270 pages. It is $4.99. It is available on Kindle Unlimited, and here's the author's description. The blood of the North flows through his veins. From best-selling LitRPG author Carrie Summers comes a new saga about survival on a windswept coast. Jace, a backcountry ranger assigned to patrol the wilderness of North America, was hiking when abruptly he was somewhere else. Wind battered his thinly clothed body, and the salt air from crashing waves immediately soaked him to the skin. Nothing looked familiar. And then a strange game message started appearing in his vision. With no explanation for how he arrived, Jace must nonetheless learn to survive in a merciless environment, crafting everything with his own hands. He must learn the art of combat and how to control the powerful abilities that surface in his body. Northblood, they'll call him. A blessing and a curse. On the bright side, he's totally buff, and there's this hot redhead game tester who was pulled from her old life and shoved into his. Things could definitely be worse. So there we go. Review portion of this, it's basically 65% of this is kind of this introduction to an RPG fantasy world with 4 main characters. The story revolves around learning about the RPG game mechanics, each person figuring out their own particular worlds because they each have different kind of class abilities, and surviving beasts, the weather, the monsters, the crafting basic necessities, and shelter. After the 65% mark, this shifts a little bit, and the groups find locals and learns more about the world and why there's been an increase in the Starborn, or like the players being sent to this world, and why they're showing up so much. The last quarter has a little more action than the rest of the story, as the group completes finally completes this quest line, which revolves around some actiony stuff. So on the game mechanics side of things, there are loads of details and snarky notifications. There's experience points, magic stats increases through actions, and each person again kind of has their own class skill set, so they all kind of work well together as a group. There is a little bit of base building and town building, but it feels like it's something that's going to be developed more in the next book or later on in the series, so don't be too jazzed about it here. There is a good depth to, again, all of the game mechanics, but mostly this is a survival story, at least for this first book, for a majority of it. So you're going to get to see a lot of crafting, see a lot of survival elements, and that is really pretty in-depth. So it's an interesting book. Overall, I enjoyed it. Again, it's not an action-heavy story for the most part. Again, it's like the last quarter or so. And it feels like a good setup for a series, and it's entertaining. So for me, it gets a score of 7.6 out of 10. That's Tales of the Northblood, Winter's Breath, a LitRPG saga with a score of 7.6 out of 10. Okay, next is going to be Pearl of the South, The World of the Change, book number 2, written by Vasily Mahenko. It is 389 pages. It is $6.99. It is not available on Kindle Unlimited as of this recording. And here's the author's description. Earth was never the same after the world of change. Humanity was reduced to 2 camps, monsters thirsting to kill and players doing everything they could to survive. The squabbles people had spent their time on before, gone. If you wanted to live to see another sunrise, you had to work with everyone you could, from other players to game functions. Mark Derwin, the most advanced player through the initial period of the game, knew all too well that his level was no advantage. Far from it. The game owner didn't tolerate anyone who got too far ahead. The only thing the owner wanted was for Earthlings to disappear without a trace, giving up their resources to be extracted. But not everyone was willing to bend the knee before alien intelligence. In fact, some would begin to fight back against the game. So there we go. That's actually a pretty decent description of the kind of larger story arc of the series, I think. The second book in the series continues the dark survival action adventure story that the first book started. Vasily Mantle continues his story of a lone player stuck surviving in an RPG world where all the monsters and crazed, overpowered aliens are out to kill him. The story keeps pushing the main character into ever more action-filled situations, with good story twists that keep things interesting and the main character from feeling too overpowered. In addition to the game mechanics are the trials, where the main character can undergo torturous tests to improve his physical and mental stats. It's a change I personally like just because it felt like there was a real cost to the main character improving his stats in a lot of LitRPG, and especially I think a little bit in the first book. The main character gained a bunch of stats just by leveling, taking pictures of monsters and everything. And there didn't feel like there was like a huge impact on him. And that's definitely part of the story mechanics. And it's addressed in book number 2 in particular because now the main character is learning about, all the comments that other players and other aliens make, he doesn't really know how to use his levels. Well, that's coming into play in book 2 here. And so there really is a torturous cost to him actually using those levels to improve his physical capabilities and some other like fun things like getting particular visions and hardening his skin and actual physical characteristics changing for him instead of just a change in health points or mana points or whatever the case is. So I did like that addition to this particular story. Overall, a really good read for the author. Just about anything Vasily Mantle writes is always really interesting, so this is no different. For me, it gets a score of 7.8 out of 10. That's Pearls of the South, World of the Change, book number 2, with a score of 7.8 out of 10. Okay, on to Ian's Picks of the Week. And this is a segment of the show where Ian Mitchell is a longtime LitRPG community member and reader, has become a contributor for the podcast. He sends in his reviews that he does every week now, and we read them to you because we like getting other viewpoints, and plus this gives us exposure to other novels that I personally may not have a chance to read. And this week he has one new review for us, and it's going to be Death's Mantle, book number 2, by Harmon Cooper. I actually personally enjoyed book number 1 quite a bit. And book number 2 is Ian's reading it, and he's giving a review, and this is his review. He says, "My girlfriend's an angel and she keeps shooting me." That's the summary title. He says, book 2 of a strange series. This death is a gamer. He can't interact with the material world, but he can make cool toys to fight other supernatural beings. At least he isn't boring. Part of the series includes him trying to save his family members from some sort of spiritual parasite. An interesting read and quite imaginative. I finished book number 2 feeling like I still don't know what is happening or why. I enjoyed the fights. They were fun and over the top. This is my 1,000th book review at Amazon. Yay. He gives it a score of 8.0 out of 10. And again, congratulations to Ian for getting his 1,000th review, this being it. So there you go. That's Death Mantle, book number 2, and Ian gives it a score of 8.0 out of 10. And for people who are trying to rationalize my review score, we're usually about a point apart. So an 8.0 is probably about a 7.0 to 7.1 or 2 on my scale. But still, I enjoyed book number 1. Ian has enjoyed book number 2, and so there we go. And that's it, folks. That's the show. Thank you very much for listening, for watching. Remember that you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, our website at litrpgpodcast.com. Find all the places to hang out with us. Follow us on Facebook, please. That we can see all the reviews we do we'll write them out for you. You can see the notifications for those, and also just hang out. It's a nice place to comment on the things you like, things you don't, and hang out with other LitRPG authors and readers while we do stuff. So thank you very much for hanging out with me and listening to me talk about a thing that I love. And until we can hang out again, remember to read some LitRPG. Goodbye, everybody.